be listening to us on our podcast. We are going to possibly end our friendship today by judging each other's work to see how far we've come, which is going to be very exciting. So we have our most recent pieces of competition routines and our first, I would say, kind of professional ones. I suppose they're not uni ones or showcases and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because your first one is your first instructor category one?
Yeah, so before my first one, I'd only done like into uni ones, like advanced and beginner. So
right.
Yeah, it's my first instructor one.
Okay, that's your first one. And my one was basically my first one. My first one ever.
Yeah.
one showcase. So if anyone happens to have stumbled upon our podcast and is just really wondering what on earth we're talking about in terms of like competitions and instructor categories and stuff, me and Lisa are both competitive pole artists. Yeah. And we've had the pleasure of performing in front of crowds all over the place, actually. Because what you did, was it Pole Theatre Switzerland?
Yeah, I've done Pole Theatre Switzerland, and I also did Pole Theatre World in Spain.
Oh, yes! Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. Oh my gosh, Lisa went to Worlds. Yeah, and then I've done 2 in the UK and 2 in Hong Kong, which is like, it's bizarre. It doesn't seem to make sense, but I did use it. So that's why I don't just really choose to travel as far as possible to do my pole competitions. Like, awkward and weirdly expensive. So yes, for anyone that has stumbled upon this, so pole competitions, they happen all over the world. There's lots and lots of different ones. Some of them are super sporty. Some of them are like, I guess like iPad's a bit sporty and like post it up, so I always try to say it, which is like basically the pole sports, which is just flips and stuff for days, which I don't think I can compete in. I'm not sure if I could possibly stumble. And then you have lots of like artistic competitions, which is what me and Lisa tend to do most of the time. So you've pretty much only done art categories. Have you done drama? Well, you have to.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've done drama. I did pole theatre drama a couple of years ago. Yeah, and mainly if it's a specific themed competition, it's usually art. Otherwise, it's a competition like UK BPC or BPSC or something where there's not a specific sort of category style, but you bring your own style, and it is usually art style.
You bring your own style. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, fine. So this is going to be entertaining. So as this is happening for our Instagrammers and our podcasters, which I'm sure you're fully listening to now, basically what's happening is we've got this great Zoom setup, which is super technical, where my phone is lying on my laptop lid, and we're on Zoom, and we have the 4 pieces, so our first ones on our most recent ones, and we're gonna basically take it in turns to judge our own work as judging panel. I've actually never been on a pole judging panel before, but I've judged dance and I've done like auditions, so I can kind of judge from that perspective. But in terms of like point systems and stuff, don't know, you probably know more. You know more about that.
I think before we start, so usually in a competition there would be a set criteria, and you have to judge out of. It's different for every single one, so marks out of 10 or 40, depending on what the overall marks are. And usually there's categories that you're marking on for tricks and transitions, so the stuff that you do on the pole. And that can include how you're getting in and out of moves, the difficulty of the moves, and the confidence in the moves. And then you usually have like floor work and flow section that you're judging on. So how much floor work is in there, the quality of the floor work, whether it comes natural. And then there's usually like a stage presence like box. So that can like basically means your confidence on the stage, how much you capture the audience, whether the audience are drawn into the theme. And then sometimes there's like a bonus box where you give bonus marks for that competitor, so it can be like a rising star category, so at the end can be like but every competition's different, so there's not like a set layout. Why have you got a hat on?
I just felt like I feel like putting on a filter just to make it more exciting. Because I'm just anyone else that's been here. I've just come from a workout and I'm trying to make my appearance look nicer.
But we're not really judging by a set criteria today. We're giving general feedback, I suppose, on each other. So we're giving constructive feedback. I suppose the sort of feedback that if we were to have a private with each other on that routine, the things that we might mention to try and improve it. Wait,
so we're not going to give any shade at all? Not even a slight bit of shade?
Yeah, there's going to be shade. Definitely.
I was like, how nice are you going to be? Because I'm going first, so Lisa's going to judge me first, so we'll see. We'll see how nice we're going to be. All right, well, let's get involved in it, because I think this is going to be amusing. Right, okay, so let me get my my shared screen up. This is very exciting, very technical. So I'll do a little intro. Oh, well, I've got Lisa's one. No, I don't want Lisa's one. I want my one. There it is. So annoyingly, actually, this is like only a part of the routine. I had to cut off some of it, but this routine that I'm about to show you is my first ever routine on a stage. And basically the concept was I was trying to be a kind of drunken Marilyn Monroe, and that's which is kind of what happened. But the idea was that there was some like heart in it. My idea was that we see celebrities as these kind of marvelous, majestical things, and usually in the background they are a lot more dark, and they're thoughtful, and they have a lot of troubles. And like Marilyn Monroe famously topped herself, pretty much, as sadly a lot of celebrities do. And it was sort of my little wail of sympathy towards people that are in the limelight at all times, and they're trying to desperately be amazing all the times, but obviously you can't be at all times. So that's what I'm about. So I'll describe to you what I'm wearing for what's going on. So it is a pole competition, but this is like arty pole, so it's like not all the big heels, which would have been fun, but I can't do that. So anyway, so I've got my little black shorts on, I've got like a kind of vintagey bra on, I have like a white shirt, and my friend Nikki, who is an incredible makeup artist, made my face look delightful. So there's all kinds of like cute things, and my hair looks amazing, like it actually does. I can't be responsible for that. So yeah, so the music is David Bowie, and yeah, okay, right. So there is a little thing before this, which sadly isn't here, Lisa, I'm sorry about that, but anyway, all right, let's do it.
I hope I'm finding it. Right? Well, for me, I come to the process of being happy. Sometimes when I'm working, and I'll be able to...
Yeah, so pause there, actually. So... I can hear feedback, by the way, from you. So.
I've got it. Sorted.
Okay, so the miming is amazing, and it's brilliant because it's relevant to what you're doing. But just for listeners that are doing like routines or preparing routines, usually you get judged down like for singing or, you know, lip sync music and things. So if you're going to do it, you've got to basically do it properly, like Sophie's done in this routine.
Oh, thanks, mate.
So yeah, you get away with it if there is a real reason for doing it, and there is a real reason here because Soph is really, you know, being the character. I suppose she's letting the audience know that she is the woman that is speaking. Okay,
telling us a story.
Yeah, she's telling a story. Okay, you can carry on.
All right, continue.
And then I think I'm happy. But I'm not just generally happy. If I'm generally anything, I guess I'm generally miserable.
She's very good at acting, is also.
Can I just say for 1 second though, it's trying to do like a laugh like that on stage where you go, and then you feel like a right knobhead, but when you're going to do something awkward, really go for it. Anyway.
Yeah, and it's really good. Okay, now we're getting into it. Very good.
I was scared that someone would thought I was looking for.
Okay, so pause it.
Just pause, man.
So I would say up to here, everything was really, there's feedback, by the way. Okay, so up to there, everything was really controlled and, you know, not panicky. You look like you were very calm and in control. And I would say the little foot thing that you do on the pole, where you put your foot on and you twizzle through.
A little swivel.
Yeah, the little swivel. It looked like there was a bit of panic starting to happen and a bit of rushing starting to happen. So only a little bit, but it just looked like you were starting to rush a little bit. So let's see if she continues to rush, shall we? Or if she has a little calming down.
I vaguely remember this part of it and being, I kind of like shitting my pants a bit. And I remember that little thing was one of those things, like sometimes I did it right, like 70% of the time.
Right, okay, yeah, so I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
All right, let's continue.
Yeah, get it. Very nice use of the prop. Okay, pause it there. Pause it.
Yeah, okay.
So the same thing again, like it's just little bits and I'm really picking at small things, but like the shoulder roll was a bit rushed as well. I think everything just goes from being quite controlled and confident to then like frantic. But I think it's the bits that were probably less confident for you at the time that are a little bit.
I vaguely remember the moment of taking the shirt off. I knew that I had to get to the good side of the pole, and it was quick because I had to get up. And this little next move I'm about to do, I was never really good at. I famously hate Superman positions or anything where like both legs are like even on the pole. Yeah. The next thing I'm gonna do, I think the reason of rushing is probably because I'm like, oh, I hate this bit.
Yeah. So I could just tell that you were like going through the motion rather than enjoying the shoulder roll. It was like, right, get over here, get onto there.
Yeah.
But again, very, very minor. It's not like excessive.
Yeah. Okay. Plus, though, as a dancer, because bear in mind at this point, I'm not that much of a pole dancer. I'm like new to pole, so all the dance stuff I will have not even like barely rehearsed. I would have been like, the dance stuff will just happen, whatever. And then I realized when I get to it, I'm like, oh shit, I should rehearse this. All right, continuing.
Okay.
Oh.
Little pause. Yeah, but I suppose you needed that to get your angles.
Can we just do it?
Okay. I wanted you to pause there anyway, because can you just explain what the little airwalk was for?
No. I think the airwalk was for, I think that all I knew at this point was that pole dancers seemed to like it when strength things happen, but I didn't have a lot of strength yet. And can you remember when so before I did this, I know it's in Hong Kong, but I was on holiday and I came back to England. And can you remember that movement? And I actually fell off the pole. Because, can you see, I've got my arm here now, but there was a moment where, I don't know if I can rewind it and it's not going to like ruin everything, but maybe not. I don't know. There was a moment of like, right. So this moment here, right now, was where for some reason I kept falling off the pole because my ass was too close. So all the weight was there. And remember, I just didn't hook. And you helped me. You actually said, no. And I remember shitting my pants at this point.
Yeah,
so that doesn't explain the airwalk. It's a shame that I'm in the back, but no, this is choreographically irrelevant to what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, again, you made it work, but I was a little bit like, why are we airwalking? I think you saved it with the shape that you did. So you did like 2 steps in a shape and then came back. So I think that saved it. It would have been weirder if you hadn't have like held something there.
Really good question. Why would Marilyn Monroe be trying to do an INX and then a walk? No, you just don't know. Maybe she liked it, but yeah, there was no relevance to it whatsoever. All right, let's go.
Okay, stop there. Stop. I think I had a conversation with you about this in the studio. The foot grab to head, okay.
Yeah. Why?
I mean,
I'm
well,
static.
the fact that you don't hold it is kind of like a little bit pointless. But that is me just being really mean. I think it just shows that you are like new in terms of like what people are looking at, sort of thing. And you were just thinking, oh, flexi move, foot to head.
But however, ironically, it's not even very flexible. Like, it isn't. It does nothing. Serves no purpose.
So just for audience listening, so Sophie was basically in an inside leg hang, kind of like when you do a contortion Scorpio, but she grabbed one hand to the foot, so not both, and kind of just pinged it to her head and let it go.
That's exactly
it doesn't sound as bad. It doesn't look as bad as I'm making it out. It's just.
It does though. It's one of those moments that makes me cringe. I'm like.
And actually, you've paused it on a good point here. So after the leg hang, she then comes to a sort of handstand position. And I think if you could have looked back, because if I remember throughout this bit, you don't actually look back, you keep your eyes up. So it kind of takes away the fact that you're performing and you're actually thinking about your trick here.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I did get away with a lot of stuff though. There's plenty of moments in here where actually I could have performed so much better, but I guess, bear in mind that the competition I was going in.
They are very small. They're very small things. But yeah, if you play it, then the audience will see that But then we end it with a good split, so it's fine. All the drama. Yeah.
Look at that pose. Oh, good one.
Okay, yeah, flex foot going on. Okay, pause it there.
I think I'd
I don't know.
Like that week.
Yeah, I think, did I teach you that move at some point? I think I showed
that one. That one, I think.
Next.
Yeah, that one I think I'd learned with Vary at Hidden Talent. I think we'd literally just done it a week before, and then I think it's the next bit that you'd explain to me. There's a little leggy part, which I don't do very well in this video, which you'll see.
So when you had a flex back foot in your climb, which doesn't matter too much for this one because hold on, it says, oh no, it was your poll, ignore me. So it wasn't like, a professional competition, I suppose, so you can get away with it. But if this was in like pro category or even semi-pro, I would say, it goes without saying that the back foot should be pointed. And also, when you reached up before you went into your twisted V, you did like an unnecessary hand transition. I don't know if you knew that. Like
noticed? No, I remember you telling me about hand transitions and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, like
you put your left hand down and then put it back up again when you could have just literally had them both up there.
You told me about that in the studio.
Yeah, small, and you probably were doing it out of habit. It's probably why you were doing it.
That and pure fear.
So yeah, competitors, hand transitions. If you've got a million hands going on to get into something, and it's obviously if it's necessary, then that's cool. But sometimes you don't need it, and you're doing it just to try and secure yourself. And again, that makes it obvious to the audience that you're not as secure there as you would need to be.
All right, come on then.
Okay.
Nearly there.
Off you go.
We won't have
Good night, alone. I remember this bit. Okay. Your back's so flexy there. So I'm sure you're noticing all the flex feet in the sit-ups, yeah?
I'll do that for the sake. I'm a little bit it's what I hate. I was like, why can't I spin anymore? At this point, I actually want to go back to one as well.
Yay! Oh,
was like, fucking hell, just did my first piece ever. Amazing.
Yay!
Yay!
But I see why you won that, because, you know, the things that I was pointing out are really minor, really, really minor. And that's just because I am, like, you know, picking at it. It was an amazing routine. It really
I would
was.
actually like to now, because I still love that routine, I still love the character. That's one of the ones I actually really want to remake one day. And I will do. Right, let's go to...
Oh, God. I forgot that this was coming. I should have been nicer.
I know. Why won't it let me do this? Hold on. Yeah, one day I do plan to actually remake that routine, but like with different things and whole concepts. And the good thing about it, anyone that's wondering about what a good length for a routine is, definitely 3 minutes is a nice solid routine. And plus, as an amateur, normally you don't get more than that anyway, so it's like nice. But like in the world of like theatre and stuff and like performances, no one wants more than 3 minutes, because like our more like advanced ones are like 5 minutes, so they have to be like really interesting. Right, we are gonna go for what is, I don't actually know what this means. Am I just being an idiot? Like, what is BPSC?
So BPSC is British Pole Superstar Championships. So
that is a great name.
Can I just give a little bit of a background on this? So
Please do.
When I'd only been doing pole for like, I don't know, a year or so, maybe 2 years, and I'd become an instructor, and I still wanted to compete. However, I was shitting my pants, because I was like, how can I compete against instructors that have been doing pole for like, you know, years and years and years? So I entered, and I actually didn't get through.
Oh.
So I didn't get through, but then somebody dropped out, which meant that I got a place in the final. So I'd only had maybe 3 weeks to actually like do the routine. So this was just the routine that I did for my video entry. So my outfit was just borrowed off somebody. Like, yeah, I had no idea about like professional competing. So yeah.
Love. What I love about the beginning of this video, by the way, is Dan Rosen.
Yeah.
And that you'll hear in a second, he's just like, Lisa Hammond. It's just like, wow, so camp. What a legend. What an absolute god. I love him. Right, okay. Was this his comp, or was he just the compere for it?
He was the compere. It was Nadine's comp. I'm going to turn my camera so I can show our viewers the things, and then you can do your criticising.
Okie dokie then. Okay, I'll keep the sound doing things. Okay, fun. Right. Are we ready? Just to listen to. I really want to see this. Also, before it even happens, I have a giant problem with the walk on, and the little change of
God.
At the beginning.
There's going to be many problems with this.
Is this? Look at this. Just kidding. These days as well. It's funny to watch you do.
Oh God. It makes me sick.
Yes, toes. Right, okay, wait here. Right. First thing, I've never seen anyone so angry to do that. It makes me laugh so much. And actually, it continues for all of your flow, because actually, all of your flow choreo is super nice. It completely links. It completely flows. Like, especially for like this level, totally fine. And you don't do a split for no reason, which is like a great bonus, right? Your face is so like, was it fear? Anger,
no, I was
confusion?
Okay. Let me set the scene a bit then. Let me set the scene. So I don't know if you know the song, but it's like quite a sad song. And mine, so it's about like hurting yourself, I suppose, and being so like riddled with self-hatred. I suppose there's like a lot of different there's a lot of different meanings behind the song, but that was what I was taking from it. So that's why I obviously I'd never performed on stage like with themes before, so I wasn't really sure of how to express that, if that makes sense. So I was doing the traditional, like really obvious translation of
just be angst.
Aggression. Yeah.
The rest of the flow is delightful though, which makes me very happy. All right, let's continue.
Oh God.
There's stuff about fists on stage where like
Oh.
love it. That's anything. Just anyone that does an air grab with no sense on their face is just maybe one of the humorous things I've like ever. But again, everything is flowing like majestically. It's just your face. Did you get any judges' comments from it?
I did actually. So Bendy Kate said that it was her favourite routine of the day.
But I mean,
So,
in terms of your face,
FYI.
did anyone say, no, in terms of flow and choreo, it's delightful.
Oh, I can't remember.
Surely
I can't remember.
showmanship.
It would be funny to like drag out those judging sheets, wouldn't it?
I have all mine somewhere. I'm going to keep them till I die. Right, anyway, go on.
Oh, I loved this bit. It made me sick, but I loved it. Cradle spin. I had really bad cramp here, by the way, and I was dying to flex my foot. So I pushed it into the floor as I stood up.
Drama.
Get it, flatline. Oh dear.
So, in your angry teenager angst, at what point would you do it back then? Totally kidding. Okay. So the little bum roll to get up. I love them in non-sexual routines because it doesn't make sense. And you know why?
I know.
It only exists because as pole dancers, when you're doing any flow, for some reason that is like the standard way of getting up. A little like,
yeah. Yeah.
You start with your ass, because I remember like my first ever classes like with Lorna and actually with Vary in Macau as well. We did loads of choreo, and for some reason you always go up arse first like a camel. Like, and it's not even a bad thing, and it works even for this, but it's just such a funny little pole thing. I don't know why it exists. Anyway, carry on. I do love all this routine. I love how much you're cringing about it as well.
The front one though isn't. I don't think I am, so, but thanks. It was the wrong angle, really. Oh God.
People that are like listening to a podcast and we've not spoken to. It's because basically what's happened is Lisa's just done a collection of maybe 4 or 5 big strength moves actually, like really, yeah, just everything like reverse grab stuff, and then you've got your shoulder mount stuff. This is a horrible position. But like every single position is, I think, really clean, and it's so much cleaner. I know you don't think it is. I think in terms of like, if we're being on professional level, like whenever you're doing like shapes like that, you have to extend everything even further to make it look more beautiful.
Yeah.
But in this category, the fact that you've even got your toes pointed is like such a bonus, because like pointing toes is like something that doesn't exist, and it winds me up no end when people don't have like pointy toes. But every single move is amazing. But at this point, how knackered are you? Because I feel like as it goes down, everything gets like a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, also just a side note, I think instructor category is really tough because you've got instructors that are like me there, where I, didn't have much experience, and then you've got instructors that have a lot of competing experience. When I'm judging in an instructor category, I would expect it to be a hell of a lot better than this. Like, now, but then, at the time there, I was trying my best there. Do you know what I mean? Like that was my best. So I think it's difficult because, like the expectation is quite high, but if you haven't got the experience to understand these things, then how are you supposed to know? I didn't know half.
You only really learn it when you go to competitions. Actually, like you understand what the situation is once you're there. All right, carrying on. We're gonna run out of time.
We might have to do part 2 for new ones.
Smile.
It's nearly the end. Oh God.
Hold on to the 10. Oh, sorry. Look at that sound.
Look at that. Yeah, but I can't come out of it. That's why it's the final move.
You know what? No, wait, this is the best part. Right. Your exit out of the stage. So, and that's one of my pet peeves of pole dance competitions. That nobody bows. Like nobody bows ever. And it's like, I guess it's one of the things you don't get taught at the studio.
No.
Hello everyone, this is Mahin Rashid, the president of the Music Society of Lumps. I really hope that you all are enjoying so far. That's hilarious. It's just like, it's something to do with, like, we just never get told to, like, at the end of your performance, you take a small bow about what you've done. Like, like you learn that when you're but like pole dancers, but you just think, I just want to get but fully enough, on the Janeiro, in my UK PPC routine, that was also the reason why I ended on Janeiro, because I didn't have a great way of coming out of it.
I know, but now it's known. It's known in the pole world that if you finish, it's not cool now if you end on a Janeiro, because it's obvious.
But it's obvious that you don't know what to do afterwards, Okay, I'm trying to figure out why something was talking to me. My laptop's in one of those things where you just like don't know where the sound's coming from. That is really nice. Literally have no idea. I'm just gonna work on this whilst Lisa
sounds
gives
lovely.
It does sound lovely. Lisa, give some tips of like what not to do in competitions when you're.
I suppose if you are new to competitions and you are thinking of making a routine, it might not be your instructor's fault that they don't tell you that you need to bow and all these other little things. If they haven't performed before or they don't have a big performing background, then they are there to teach you the tricks and teach you the pole. So it can be worth going to a couple of different people to get, like a multitude of experience behind you and get like feedback from different people, because you only learn these things really from experience. So go to maybe some people that have performed before, just to get some tips really on how to be on the stage. Have you figured it, so?
I really have not. My goodness me, like seriously, my laptop was just like singing at me. I've closed every single thing that's possible.
I can't actually hear it.
No, it's because I muted it. I don't know how that happened, but it's all right. I've sorted it now. Right, we might only have a chance for like one of these, so there might have to be a part 2, which is kind of fine. But maybe we can make a part 2 and use a couple of other examples.
I think we could fit in. We've got 10 minutes, so if we do 5 minutes.
Well,
each.
My routine is 5 minutes. Oh, 5 minutes each. My whole routine is 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, it is. Okay.
these are the big ones. Well, let's do
let's
this.
See what
Let's do one, and then, or I could just do half of one possibly.
I think it'd be better to do none than do one.
All right, fine. Let's do that. Let's make this into plan B. So this can be our this is what to do in a beginner category competitions, and then next week we'll do part 2 when we get to pro category, and we can judge ourselves for that. Because plus in pro, like again, what you might not know if you've never done a competition before is that you generally speaking, or at least my experience, and I'm sure Lisa knows way more than I do about it, but generally speaking, you get given like a list of like how, like things you need and what you can and can't do. And like, I've only ever really competed in like theatre based ones. So all I've ever seen really is that you have a time limit. And when you're doing like amateur stuff, generally you get maybe 3 minutes. Then when you're like semi-pro, you get 4 minutes. And then when you get pro, you tend to get 5 minutes, maybe 4.5 minutes. Because to be fair, like if your concept is epic, then you can probably like get through the whole thing. But if your concept is a bit meh and you're trying to fill 5 minutes, oof.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen some long routines. And it's not because the person isn't epic. They literally could be perfection. But you know, if the music's not like your thing, and maybe this as well, like, I think one thing you have to realize as a performer, either way, is that the judging panel are obviously, they like certain things and they don't like other things. So like, you know, you might be presenting a concept where they just hate the music, they don't like your costume, they're just bored, they actually really need to pee. Like, yeah. You know, and these things are going to affect your outcome, which is really shit, but you know, it's just stuff that's going to happen, you know. And also I always have this worry that like, if you, like I said, I've never been a judge, but I've definitely been in like auditions for like a long time, and by you've already been there 3 hours, you're like, I can't see anything anymore. So yeah. I would imagine a good judge is one of these kind of people that can like take a glass of water and then try and look at it fresh every single time. Like, it must be a nightmare. Like, you've judged Lisa, so you probably know.
Yeah, it is really difficult, especially if it's a long competition, because if there's loads of people in each category, you know, it is difficult. And with pole, there's like always trending moves, isn't there? Yeah. And things that everyone's doing. So that is good for training, but it's not so good, I don't think, in a competition, because then you're seeing the same thing all the time. So if you are making a routine, even if it's beginner and intermediate, trying to make those moves a little bit more, what's the word? Word come to me.
Varied?
A little bit more
original?
Original, yeah. So, you know, you need to really stand out to keep the attention of the people watching you and judging you. So try not to, you know, the same like combos, you know, like for example, butterfly, flatline, you know, into a dragon or an allegro, like, you know, you don't want your audience to kind of know where you're going to go next.
That's a great point.
Especially the judge when you're, Jenny, here comes the bird of paradise. And it can be difficult. It can be difficult. And I'm not saying that like combos like that are really, really bad. But if you're going to do them, you've got to add your own little flair to it and make it look like you doing it, not like every other pole dancer doing it, to keep people interested. I think it is difficult, but I guess trying to, even if it's sometimes nowadays, it's putting in the old tricks that look better, you know, seeing the old school tricks done really well, because everyone at the minute's doing, you know, that combo that was going around 2 months ago is now going to be on stage. Like,
it's true.
Everyone's got that in. So and also looking at your judges. So if you know that your judges, like for example, when I did iPad, I knew that Sam King was going to be judging me, and I know that he's like super tricksy, like really good. So when it came to doing my last combo that was like really like a power combo, I looked him straight in the eye. I was like, this one's for you. Like, you know what I mean? So it's knowing, so when you're planning it, you can think, okay, so like this judge might like this part and this part. However, stay true to yourself with what you enjoy. It's finding the balance, really. So if you knew that all of your panel were really slinky, flowy, they love the artistic style, then you have got to be prepared if you're going to go in front of them with a super power, just tricksy, that might not be to their taste. So
and plus you don't always know who your judges are going to be. You usually do, but like not always, or people will come last minute. But like you can't base your whole thing on that.
No, don't base it around it, but it's nice to have it in mind, because like you said, we're human beings, so we naturally have things that we like and dislike. So for example, for me, I really, really appreciate like an extended Allegra or a Bird of Paradise. I appreciate the flexi moves because I've tried them myself and I know how hard they are. So if I'm judging someone on them, I am going to be like really appreciating those moves, whereas someone else that perhaps isn't interested in flexi stuff, they haven't done that much of it, they might not appreciate that quite so much. It's just personal preference, really.
Definitely.
And there's no right or wrong way to go about it, but judging is really difficult, but it's also fun. I enjoy it.
I don't know, I'd like to do it one day, but I feel like the things that would like I think the things that I would always like look at more than anything else is I've got so many more years as a dancer. There's going to be so many dance things that I would look at, but I also have to realize that your average person isn't probably going to do any dancing as well. So I wouldn't mark people on high things, but stuff like pointy toes and things, like it does make me question a little bit like actual studios that they come from, because in like in a pole competition, you're going to get marked down for flex feet when they're in the wrong place, right? So as a studio, and if you have people like students that are going to compete, you should be being told constantly about like having your toes pointed or understanding how that is and stuff, so that when they get to competition, they're like they actually are. And if you're if you're a pole fanatic and you're watching people like doing competition stuff, you hopefully should notice stuff like pointy toes. And even if you happen to be in a studio where sadly the instructors aren't as great as like other instructors somewhere else, they're not giving you these tips, then we're all very familiar with Instagram. Look at what all the pros are doing, like check it out. And also like in terms of dance, like if you're not able to go to a dance class and stuff, then like it's fine. But right now, because of lockdown, there's so many dance classes going online. Like there's plenty, like the Foundry have a few, by the way. But also like there's plenty of things, like if you just go on like ballet tutorials on YouTube, like there's loads, and actually like really big famous like ballet companies like New York City Ballet, San Francisco Ballet, like the Ballet of Denmark and stuff like this, like they have all these like bar classes which you maybe have never heard of in your life, but like just going and doing a couple things, understanding that's how you point a toe, okay, got it, like stuff like that can be like so relevant. And also all of your artistry, like anytime I'm teaching like aerial pole or dancers, obviously I'm less bothered about the technique if you can sell me the concept more and like actually performing and like taking your bodies out. Because for me, especially when I started doing pole comps, was like I know that I'm a dancer and I know that not everyone else is, so I'm gonna lie on the dance as long as I can.
And that's playing to your strengths, which is a good thing to do in a competition. Like
absolutely.
I've had like sometimes I totally understand why some people want to do a routine about being a ballerina, and all this, but if they're not, that's going to be quite difficult to do. So you've got to play to your strengths and add challenges in there.
Absolutely.
Like you definitely got to put your strong bits in there. It's a competition. If you're not going to put your best bits in there, then that's a bit odd. But don't try and be something that you're not. So you are a dancer, so you play to those strengths. I think I definitely for a while tried to put more dance stuff in than I was actually able to do in some of my routines. But then I did go to to some classes and learn things, and obviously I had loads of lessons with you. Like, it depends on how much time you've got to put into a routine as to how far you can push that, because it takes time.
And sadly, possibly how much money you have to put into a routine.
Yeah.
Because we don't even speak about that, but the financial burden of doing a comp, you know, like if you're going to go and just go wild and do everything, like you're probably looking at like maybe 300, 400 pounds. When you really, even more actually.
And the rest, like if you're going to have a lesson every week, a private lesson to work on your routine.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking about the competition. I'm not even talking about like the build-up. Yeah, that's the weekend. That's your your petrol or your train or your hotel. You got a shit hotel that you're sharing with everybody and like everything else. Like honestly, like, you know, when you're going to do a comp routine, unless you're lucky enough to have, like I guess we were always lucky because you were at Pole Athletes, and then I could come and train with you, and then we'd share private, so we never had to like, I would give you dance privates and Lisa would give me pole privates. So like we never had to exchange cash in that way. So we were somewhat free training. But you know, not everyone has that. So you've got to like figure out like, oh my God, I really want to do this comp, but I've really only got about £300 to last me until 4 months from now, which might be a lot of people's situations in lockdown. So, you know, base your competition routine on literally what you can afford, which sounds weird, but you know, it's true. Like, see what you can do at home, see what like things you can learn dance-wise, like using videos, because anyone can do ballet in their house. Like you just need a chair. So you may as well use it. If you can't get to the studio, go against the wall, do some basic handstand stuff. So then finally when you can actually get into a studio, then you can actually do things. Because, you know, strength is free. You can go and train, you can do HIIT training, you can always be strong, and you can never underestimate how much strength you need to be a pole dancer. And
it's very different.
There's so much training that you can do for free that can make your comp routine easier, because half it's just cardio, isn't it? At least like more than half.
I mean everyone will know this, like just because you can do a move doesn't mean that you can do it in a routine. Like there's a huge difference, because you got to imagine you've just ran a half marathon and then you're going to do that move.
Like actually, like because we spoke about this because we did the comp prep one a while ago, didn't we? And we were saying like it's usually like 2 or 3 months, and we're saying like maybe ideally a whole month before you've got your routine slammed out, so then you can actually do it. Realistically, that never happens. We're about 2 weeks before, to be fair. But you know, the last.
I don't know. I start sweating if I've not got 3 weeks at least to just run it, just because I need that to make it neat. I'm a slow burner, and also looking at what kind of learner you are. Like I have to do things over a longer period of time to get it neat, and I know that I'm like that. So for me, if it's going to be how I want it, I need about 4 weeks of running it, because otherwise I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah.
And if I haven't got that time, then easier tricks have got to go in, because I want it to look nice.
Looking nice, and also fundamentally enjoying yourself when you're actually doing it. You don't want to be on stage, because I've tried to get fungies into routines like almost every single comp so far, and I've not made it, because it is a scary routine, and I've tried to put it in and I've just not put it in yet. I'm still trying, but you don't want your entire thing to be waiting to the moment where you have to do that trick that you're shitting your pants about, you know. You want to go on stage. You want to make sure that your cardio is cool, you're happy with your concept, and that basically you're going to go out and actually just kill it and have a really nice time and enjoy the feedback. Right? We will bounce, because we both have to do very busy things, because we're so busy lockdown now.
Thanks for tuning in, guys, and listening to our podcast.
And we will do this again. So I guess next week then, if this is part 1, this is our amateur judging. Next week we will bring you 2 of our most recent ones. Both are winning performances, which is very nice. It's always good if you win. And
mine's second place, but we'll class
was
it
it
as
second
the
place?
win.
I thought that was the
I
thought it was
iPad was the win. No,
that's
iPad. I mean, we can judge that one if you like.
We could try. We can judge everything. We just can judge and judge.
I would probably prefer that. Okay.
if you want to, okay. So part 2 will come next Wednesday, and I'll be talking about my Pole Theatre UK routine. And if you want to watch them before they go out, then they're both on YouTube, I believe. If you just do the usual, I don't know, Sophie Duncan Pole Theatre UK winner or something, and same for Lisa, like Lisa Hammond.
If you just put in Lisa Hammond pole, it'll come up.
Lisa Hammond poll will come, and we'll put some links on Instagram so that you can find it and check it out before we talk about it. Cool. Well, thank you for listening. We'll be putting our Zoom on our YouTube as well, so you can actually see what we were talking about. And otherwise, have wonderful days, and we will see you next week, 12 o'clock. Peace out. A-Town.
Bye.